Hello there, Outliers. Niiamah Ashong here, and thank you so much for letting us be a part of your journey today. We have three amazing outliers joining us here on the Outliers Edge Roundtable. Uh, we have Tawny, we have Magna, and we have Ravi. And today we're going to explore more of how we've leveraged what has made us an outlier to create our impacts out into the world and to make sure that we're doing it in a way that stays aligned with us, but also brings in the people and the impact that we're looking to create. What I want to do first is make sure each of you get a chance to meet our amazing outliers here today. Why don't we start off with Magna, then we'll go to Tanya, and then we'll go to Robbie. So Magna, give us can you introduce yourself? Let us know about the game that you're playing right now.
Sure. Thank you, Niiamah. I'm Magna Gopal, everybody. I'm an empowerment coach, a public speaker, and a salsa dance instructor for 25 years, traveling around the world, teaching dance, teaching people how to connect through nonverbal communication, get creative, feel like they can express themselves, and also explore the possibilities that are available to them. The Outliers podcast, I think, lines up perfectly for the things that I do, which is about empowering people, especially outliers, who have a different approach to life that is a little bit unique, but also very contributive to other people's growth. And I think today is going to be an awesome day to share this space with other fellow outliers. Thank you.
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. Tanya?
Yeah, hi, my name's Tawnya Nelson. I'm excited to be here as well. My journey or my game is all about going deeply inside of ourselves and connecting to ourselves intimately, knowing ourselves in every door, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and then intimately being able to connect with our partners. So, knowing that that relationship, that intimate relationship, is probably the greatest gateway into seeing ourselves and experiencing that connection with another person. And so, yes, intimacy is one of my favorite places to go. It's the game that I play. It's that real, authentic, juicy place to just really connect to ourselves and to other people. It's one of the, I would say, the most valuable and intimate places we could go in this life.
Well, I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad that that's on the table for us to go and explore.
Yeah.
I love meeting different outliers because everyone's just doing something different out there, and I'm excited for where this conversation goes. And then Robbie, would you mind letting us know more about you?
Yeah, hi. Namaskar to all of you. I'm really happy that Sir has given me a space where I can express myself. I've been for last 7 years. I've been trying to get such platform to express myself. What I want to do for the world. My only goal in my life is to help people live a long life. And I really want to change the current the scientific approach or scientific paradigm that we are using right now, because uh, premature death is happening in the world, and we are not able to control it, right? Lifestyle disease has become a big problem in our world, right? And people dying at a very they are dying at 20 and 30s and 40s. So I really see this as a problem, and I really think that we need to we need a paradigm shift. We need to change our the way we are doing right now. It is not helping us. So that's what I want. I've been looking for the platform where I can express myself. I can connect with many people. I really thank all the panelists here. And I'm not that much educated. I really have a very little educated, but I really want to help people all over the world. Help them live a very long life.
Yeah, Robbie, I appreciate you being here and for you bringing all of that to the table. Like one of the reasons I chose to do the panel style here is to really help elevate and show there's many different ways to show up in your outlier and with what you have available to you right now, go out and make your impact, go out and make your change. So I really wanted to say thank you to you, Robbie, right now for not saying no to this, for the
Yes.
invitation coming in and you said, all right, I'm leaning into this and then
Yes.
continuing to grow.
Yeah, I want to say something here right now. I have written a lot of letters to TED. I wrote letters to TED, and Joe Stock, in India, we have a Joe Stock, So, but we have, no, I have not received any reply from them. I always was looking for some platform where I can express and connect with the people. and share what I have learned, through last 7 years.
Well, we're going to play with that here. And
Yes.
you just said a word here that I think is where I would like to start off our conversation, which is you said connect. And I think that all three of you brought up something here in the world of connection, and you're doing it in
Yes.
different ways. So let me start off with you, Magna. Like when it comes to your empowerment coach, and you talked about like helping people connect through nonverbal communication, as well as like in their empowerment. So the question I think I want to put up first here is what does that like how do you find to be like the bridge that works for people through the work that you do when it comes to like actual connection, and what have you found to be like the thing that typically gets in the way of really making a connection?
So it's interesting, the salsa dancing journey that I've had over the 25 years and across the globe has kind of shown me the many biases with which we approach connection. And one of those biases happens to be social relatedness. What we actually think is social relatedness to us isn't necessarily social relatedness to somebody else. The way I might be, which is outgoing, energetic, maybe a little bit buoyant and flamboyant sometimes, is not the way other people connect. So on the dance floor, what I've observed is a lot of misalignment based on incorrect assumptions of somebody else. For example, let's say there's two people that are dancing. One person is very shy and reserved, and their facial expressions are very timid. They're not necessarily smiling. They might be looking away or looking at the ground. And the other person, on the other hand, is smiling and very open body language. And that person thinks that the person who's shy and timid is not interested in being there with them, is not interested in making that connection with them, which is a false assumption. And that is one of the things that I brought from dance, which is how do we improve our personal space? How do we show up in that space? What are we expecting from somebody else? Is it reasonable to expect that? And how do we best communicate our expectations as well as our understandings so that we are building connections instead of dividing ourselves further and breaking down connections?
I appreciate it. I'm thinking about this as you're saying here around like both my background was as a retirement actuarial consultant, so I'm very good with assumptions and being able to make projections based on assumptions. And one of the things I'm hearing right now is like being able to look at it and see like what are the assumptions that people are making, and actually being able to get to what the truth is for what connection is. I don't want to mess with what you said. So what part did I miss, and what part did I take? Yeah, did I miss what you just said?
That was perfect. It's
Yeah.
true. We just come with a lot of biases and assumptions that we are often unaware of in our lives that that impact how we connect with other people. And if we were a little bit more open and understanding and reflective to what we're bringing to the table, we can get more from other people and we can co-create something much greater.
Oh, you just said one of my like if there was like a jackpot word, it'd be co-create. It's like co-create. Yes. So let's keep that feel of co-create throughout all of our conversations, because we are all co-creating this here. Tawnya, you also like I know that connection and intimacy is really big for you here. So talk us a little bit here around I'm thinking about outliers right now. And one of the bigger gaps I see is like feeling that we wouldn't be accepted as who we are because like we don't fit into a specific box. We're multi-passionate, multi-talented. We have so many different things going on, or our past is so different from what everyone else out there. Like if they really knew me, if they really had any idea, like I would no longer be able to be in this space. And I think it holds a lot of us outliers back. So I'm really curious about your experience with connection and intimacy in that regard, and we could play from there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, to piggyback off of what you were saying, I think that social idea or that projection, I love the word projection. You said, I'm good at projecting out. And I think that's the key. Really being able to connect by knowing ourselves and knowing our story and being intimate with ourselves is the authenticity and the realness we actually need to connect to people. And so I think that the assumptions that we make is such a great mirror of a projection of what is going on within ourselves. And so really, I believe full connection only comes within ourselves. It doesn't necessarily come because we're looking outside of ourselves anymore, that we're actually finding the truth and the authenticity about who we are and knowing ourselves, and therefore we can share that with another person. And so I think anytime we're looking outside of ourselves, anytime we're trying to assume or get something from another person, it disconnects us from the actual connection we're looking for. And so I believe it's all about really finding out how to stay honest and authentic and really ultimately know ourselves. I believe that's our number one fear. Our number one fear is to know who we actually are. And so to me, there's a lot of distraction in trying to assume anything in anybody else's world. And the second we do that, we disconnect from the authenticity or real connection within ourselves. So how we're feeling, what we're thinking, what our stories are, we only have what is within ourselves. And so that's what we're going to connect on. So to your point, I think when we believe we need to fit into a box, or we believe that it needs to look a certain way, or we believe that that it's, again, outside of ourselves, I think that's the very thing that disconnects us. So yeah, I love the word projection. I think everything is a literal projection, right? So the way that I see the world, the way you see the world, the way that any outlier sees the world, the idea is that we're seeing it through and only through what is inside of us. So what our stories are, what our traumas are, what our beliefs, emotions, everything that we experience, our bodies, everything is about connecting to that.
Yeah, that's I love the counterintuitive elements of this here, where it's like, oh, the way to connect better with others is actually to connect better with yourself.
Yes.
And we're gonna keep playing with that as time goes on. Robbie, tell us a bit here, like when it comes to connection and such with you, like what's something that you've experienced, what's something like is there anything else you want to bring into this part of the conversation, and then we'll go off from there.
Every time, I go to hospital, when I see and meet with the people, because I visit a lot of hospitals, and meet with a lot of people who are suffering from diabetes and cancer, heart attack. I meet with such people, in my life, and see the kind of pain and suffering these people are going through. I feel so hopeless, I feel so like I cannot, what can I do for them? What can be done for them? And why these people are suffering, they are just 30, they are just 40, and having such kind of disease in their life, so what I can do for them, this is what I have been doing for last 7 years, trying to find out the real problem. We are not addressing the real problem. When in scientific community, we used to talk about disease. We used to talk about disease and health. Now we are talking about aging. Aging is one more chapter that we have added last couple of years. We have added aging also. So but apart from these three, which we think that the problem is disease and health and aging, but apart from this, I see three of them as not a problem, because I have found that our biology, our science is making a very fundamental mistake. If you go and find the definition of biology, biology is a science of life, and I have seen many scientists talking about and saying that it is not easy to define life. Life being the most fundamental thing for all of us. We all are living our life, but we are not able to define it. So this is why what I think is most of the people is going through a problem, because life being the most fundamental thing, most basic thing that we all have, we are living it, but we don't know how to define it. We don't know what it is,
So let me see if I'm getting you. Let me see if
I
I'm getting you here.
Yeah, I'd actually love to jump in really fast too. I love that you're talking so much about this idea of disease and sickness, and it really adds into everything that we're talking about, because disease really ultimately is that disconnect from ourselves, from our health, from knowing that who we really are and how to actually connect to ourselves. Disease is a disconnection. And so that death and that life that you're really talking about is how can we genetically move through things and let things go? How can we let things die within us and ultimately rebirth ourselves and know how to actually live? I love the salsa dancing, even in what you're talking about there, because the idea is how do we feel that life force energy moving through our body so that we don't get disease?
May
Absolutely,
I add?
but we
Yes,
really,
what I want to do is I'm going to give Magna. Would you take it from here? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. I just wanted to add one thing to Ravi's point as well, which is that definition aspect of it. We talked about our assumptions, and many of those involve defining the world a certain way, which then limits what we can do. It expands it, but it also limits it in some ways. And the whole nature, going back to what you originally said about things being out of the box, many of us are out of the box, but the box only expands by people out of the box. If you're in the box, you feel safe. You already have your comfort zone. It's the person from out of the box that says, hey, FYI, there is also this possibility. And slowly you expand it. In dance, just a quick example, in dance, my approach to dance is that the follower is also leading constantly through the dance, which is almost anathema to the community for decades. And I believe that the follower has a responsibility more than just following a leader, and also should insert something. And that is very out of the box thinking for many people. It isn't anymore because I've pushed it for 25 years and shown, as Tawnya was talking about, and as you were talking about, how the joy expands when you get a chance to experience something else, and when you remove some definitions or broaden and expand those definitions to create a more inclusive space, not just for yourself and your expression, but also everybody else.
Magna, I love that key point when you're go ahead.
I really want to add something here. The importance of knowing the definition of life, knowing life, it's very, very important, because if we really don't have what life is, and we know that premature death is happening, people are dying. It's very sad that people are dying at such at an age, dying at the age of 30, 40 and 50, it's a very sad thing for me, this is not the time to die, right? So
And
what
what
I'm
does it mean to
saying,
really live?
the importance of knowing life is very important, because if you do not know what life is, we are going to live very shorter life, because we know how to spend life, we don't know how to earn life. We're spending it through, we are smoking, we are drinking, we are alcohol and all these lifestyle things that we are doing. We are using our life. Life is just like a money. It's like a money, right? We have a very limited money. When you smoke, when you drink, when you do such things, we are using the most fundamental energy, so you are spending it, but we
So I
don't
hear
know
you
that.
there.
Yeah.
I hear you there.
I want to add too, I think it's a great point that you're talking about these things outside of ourselves that we all reach for to feel something inside of us, because most of the time we don't really know how to connect with our nervous system, how to connect with our emotions, how to connect with our health. And so,
Absolutely.
yes, I think we all tend to reach for things outside of us to help us to actually feel a certain way.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I appreciate all of you here.
today
Robbie, I'm going to
we
take the
have
conversation just a little bit of a different place here. So people for this one, I'm enjoying how this is going overall. And thank you all for bringing in your perspective. Like, Magna, you brought in something that I've been thinking about here, which is you talked about being an empowerment coach, talked about dancing and public speaking, and doing this over 25 years, as well as having some like counterintuitive components of like the follower is also part of the leading game, but going against the grain in terms of what is like the conventional wisdom. So I want to just start off here with, there's probably like two questions that are going to come out of this, that element. The first one here is around how do you see yourself bringing all these together, right? So as outliers, we have like multiple experience in our path. We're the multi-talented, we're multidisciplined, and I'm curious about like how you navigate, all these I don't even I say all these as though it's like it's only three. Only three things. But I'm curious about how you navigate and how you bring all that together here, because I think a lot of us are thinking we have to be only one or the other in order to be clear. And yet you've been incredibly clear with the various things and how you go about doing it. So I'm curious if we can speak to that.
Sure. So the idea of having a niche, but also having a broad repertoire of skills, is that everything complements each other. I think we have a tendency in life to compartmentalize too much, leave work, come home, spend time with the family, and just forget everything at work. Leave home, go out with friends, and forget everything at home, and then keep on cycling through the different activities that we partake in. When in reality, for me, what I do in dance and how I connect in dance makes me a better speaker. How I feel empowered in my body makes me a better coach. How I connect with friends and strangers makes me a better partner in a romantic relationship. So the idea of saying, okay, I really just should be focusing on one thing. Sure, because we have limited resources, our actual physical energy and time, and perhaps money is involved as well. But if we instead looked at our lives and said, this does not detract from what I can provide. And if we're clear on our mission, like Tawnya talked about intimacy, Ravi is talking about science and improving health, and mine is about empowerment. I see an opportunity to learn in every single area of my life, and everything I learn from another area is something I can contribute to every other area. And so it's a kind of a beautiful cycle of empowerment to myself and discovery of myself that I then bring to other people, which allows them to co-create with me.
Thank you for that here. And as you were saying this, I got struck by something here. And Robbie, I'm going to come to you. We get that like longevity is a big part of what you do. And you talked earlier about like reaching out to TED and to other platforms in order to get your message out there. I'm curious from you, like what got you to the place where you basically got off the sidelines instead of waiting for someone to come and give you the opportunity? You decided like, hey, I have a message that's going to come out and I really want to bring it out here. Can you talk about that? And I would actually be really curious about it for all of you here, for anyone that is, and I don't want to put the sidelines as like as a negative space, because it isn't, where I look at it is for all stepping up into higher levels. Right. And so anytime you step into your next level, which I would consider before then, we'll call that the sideline before you stepped into that. I'd love to get a sense as to what was your impetus to get out of that comfort zone and then to continue going. How did you deal with like the challenge of like the before and after? So Robbie, would you speak to that? Like you're reaching out to different people, you're going in here. Can you speak to that a little bit?
And you see, the biggest problem that I see that, people are not ready to accept the fact, we are not able to address the real problem.
Well,
We
I'm
all
actually
know
really,
that
Robbie, if you don't mind, I'm going to clarify a little bit. I'm actually curious about your experience. So what was it like? What was it like for you when you
okay,
like said,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
I actually want to go out and like really talk about it? Like, I'm very
yeah,
curious about that.
yeah. Okay. 7 years ago, I am just a businessman. 7 years ago, one small incident happened. My father died from heart attack,
Sorry
and
to
my
hear that.
father was very close to me. He was very close to me, and suddenly he died. And after that, I started doing meditation. I started meditation for 8 hours and 10 hours, sitting in a one place. And suddenly, after doing for some time, suddenly at night, something happened to me. Some magic or magical thing happened to me, and suddenly everything became so clear. I don't know what it was, but everything became so clear. I can see things which I have not seen it before. So I thought, why not? I have got something, a gift from God. I really want to use that. Whatever I have received, I want to use it for the help, to help people. This is why I went to
Yeah.
schools, I went to hospitals, wherever I can go, and because it is very difficult to work in India, because new things are not being done, here. So it is very difficult to do something new. People are happy with problems. We are not ready to address problem. This is the problem. So I was not getting platform. I got invitation from you, so
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
Yeah, so I heard two things there. The two things I heard. One of them was why not, right? Like there's an element of why not, and the other part was like I'll use my language around it. You all might see it different, but it's like you got a calling. It felt like the
Yes,
mission came to you, and
yes.
you've been out there. You're like I'll take what I can. I'll go to hospitals. I'll go wherever I need to go to start getting this year. So I'm feeling you on that. I'd love to open it up to everyone else here. Tawnya, would you like to share a little bit about like how you walk through that?
Yeah, I mean, I think to your point, to the calling idea, I think that is really important to and valuable to recognize that our pain, right, our experience in life, and usually as children and the first stage of our life, the sidelines idea, right, like we're all children, we're all kind of victims of the environments that we're in and the parents that we have or the caregivers that we have. And that comes with pain and trauma, all of us, right? Like, because the whole idea, in my opinion, is to learn to connect back to ourselves. And so the idea would be that, yeah, I think we take our pain, we take our karma, we take our generational healing, we take those paths, and subconsciously we create things that we've seen and know. And then I do think there comes that point where the pain really guides us into that healing process, that connection process, that awareness. So going from our subconscious into our conscious. And so for me, like I said, the pain is that I believed that I had this perfect life, this perfect marriage, everything on the outside was, all the boxes were checked from what everybody told me that it was supposed to be. And when my world, which was built off of things outside of me, right? When that started to all crumble and the illusion of what was outside of me started to dismantle and crumble, that's when life really guided me back in to say, what is this all really about? What is this journey really about? And so I think using your pain into people, there's a saying that is, there's two types of people in the world: those who heal pain and those who inflict pain on others. And none of us are getting out of this life without pain. None of us are getting out without living and death and health and all the things that we're talking about. And so, yeah, I think there is a calling to every single one of us. As outliers, as leaders, sometimes I think there's a mantle that already gets kind of prepared for us in a way. And so, yeah, that calling comes in through what are we ready to do and heal with the pain that we've been given, the journey that we've been given. And yeah, for me, it was the pain of that really catapulted me into trying to discover what was real and who I really was in this world of, what was connection really when the connection to somebody else dismantles and they have their world and they get their choices. I had to go within and find out where that was within me. So yeah, I think that's a big part of it. I think it's a big part of the calling.
Yeah, Magna, please.
Could I add something to both of what Ravi and Tawnya said? That notion of a calling. I also feel over the years that I've shifted my mindset from feeling victim to any circumstance, childhood, relationships, etc. And I instead approach it as a recipient to a lesson from life.
Yes.
And I feel like if we approach life as there's something to be learned here, as bad as it could be, like experiencing the death of a parent, I cannot imagine. So I feel for you, but I don't even know how to feel for you. But it's a lesson. I've had some crazy traumatic experiences that I won't retell on today's podcast. But for me, I could have said, why did this happen to me? Like life has influenced me and I don't have a say in return. What I prefer to do is say, life gave me something to work with. Now, what am I going to create with it? So we talked about co-creation as an aspect of connection between individuals, but there's also a co-creation aspect of us and life. Like life gives us something. What are we going to do with it? Ravi, you talked about TED Talks. I actually gave a TED Talk on the benefits of rejection. And that was a result of me saying, look, rejection is such a terrible thing. But if it wasn't for rejection, and if it wasn't the perseverance through rejection, and if it wasn't for me understanding the importance of setting boundaries and rejecting other people, I would not have built my career in dance and then eventually into public speaking and coaching. So everything, when we start to look at it like, all right, what's happening right now? This feels terrible. I am experiencing pain, but is influence a one-way street or is it a two-way street? And I like to see it as a two-way street. You gave me something, you influenced how I'm feeling, what I'm feeling. Now I'm going to take that and work with it and try and bring something back. And if it was a negative experience, especially with a negative experience, my goal has always been to say, all right, that was a negative impact on me, but I'm going to transform it and send back something positive into the world to empower others.
Oh, I love, can I add something there, Magna? I love what you're saying in that negative and positive, and we're talking about pain and the gift of that in our lives, right? To look at that not as something that has been done to us, but that has been given to us. And I love in the level of intimacy, the idea of negative, which is ultimately receiving, right? It's opening, right? That negative energy, that feminine energy that we're really talking about is about that opening and that receiving. It's going into that space that gets really scary for a lot of people. So I love adding that into the world of intimacy, because really you are talking about receiving, which pain is something we could dive into all day long, right? You know, it's like it really is a way to open us up to receive. And then ultimately, to your point, how do we alchemize and transcend and move that out into the world? How do we express that? So that return and that expression is such a big part, which of course I know you know with dancing and everything else that you're doing. So I can totally feel that from you. I love it.
Now, I really appreciate each of you here, and I'm enjoying the way the conversation's going. We're about to start wrapping up the conversation here, and I want to make sure that we've been able to speak through connection, through the elements of continuing to build ourselves, to step into new places, from pain to intimacy to like coming back into a deeper connection with self, and continue to grow it all along the way. What I'd like to do here is go to each of you and just get from you, if there was a takeaway you had, or like a message that you really wanted to make sure that outliers out there could hear, what would that be? And I think we'll start off here with Tawnya, we'll go to Robbie, then we'll go to Magna, and then afterwards we'll make sure that everyone knows how to continue to stay in conversation with you. All right. Tawnya, would you mind starting us off?
Yeah, I would love to. I think that the one message I would have is that don't look outside yourself, go inside. Everybody has such a unique imprint on this life. And so it's not about looking to find something outside of you. It's about what's inside of you. What has life given you? What is the most honest and authentic way to connect to yourself? And that becomes your message. That becomes your connection. That becomes your dharma, your purpose in this life. So authentically connect to yourself, know yourself, and then that expression of self is the home and the experience I think we're all looking for.
Thank you for that, Tawnya. Robbie, how about you? What's something that you want outliers to walk away from this conversation with?
You know, from my past experiences, one thing I have understood: I was born as a normal person, but any human being can change into a limitless possibility, right? So my only goal would be to solve the problem of the world. The problem that our world is going through. So this is what I'm doing right now. I want to solve this problem. So by helping people who are going through it. So that's all. This is what message I want to give to the world.
Thank you so much, Robbie. And
Yeah.
Magna.
Thank you. One takeaway for our fellow outliers out there is kind of piggybacking off of what Tawnya said. Every moment is unique. In dance, every second is unique. And it doesn't matter if you are dancing with a stranger or dancing with the same person for the 100th time to the same song in the same space. That moment is unique. Every second to second is unique. And life and growth and discovery are not things that happen. They are active processes. You cannot expect to get anything out of life if you are not extending your hand and opening your mind to get it. So I would just like to invite everybody who's listening. You want to feel empowered and you want to empower other people to be active in your life process. If you want to learn something, it's not enough to be in a classroom. You need to want to learn and try to learn and ask questions. If you want to find the uniqueness and the beauty of a moment, it's not enough to just be in a beautiful space. You need to open your mind, your ears, your eyes, and your emotions so that you can experience it all. And if you really want to connect with somebody, it's not enough to be next to that person. You have got to want to reflect internally, discover yourself, understand where you're coming from, and try and bring that to the table and be open to whatever you receive, because there's nothing that's really bad that often doesn't come from a good place. As kids, we're all born good. Whatever we turn into in life is a result of poor lessons learned along the way. So we have that open space, that safe space for other people. Even the worst can be transformed into something beautiful. As Tawnya was talking about earlier, pain. Yes, it's not a feeling that we can avoid. It's not a feeling we want to have every day, but it's something that can be transformed into something really beautiful.
I love this here. And I want to thank each of you. We're gonna end off here with one last thing, all on connection. And this is how people can stay connected with you, right? So can we go around and let people know how they can continue down in your world? Tawnya, why don't we go to Tawnya, Robbie, and then Magna will come to you, and then we'll wrap up for today. Tawnya, how do people stay in your world?
Yeah, all of my platforms, whether it's my website, any social media, it's all TawnyaNelson.com, TAWNYA, Nelson, NELSON. And yeah, just connect me in any of those platforms.
All right, thank you. Robbie, how about you?
I just have one YouTube channel, Being Well Fitness School. You have seen that. People can connect with me. I don't have any website, so people can connect with me through the YouTube channel. They can connect with me.
Right, and Outliers, you can check out the show notes for more links and stuff on that. And Magna.
Absolutely. You can connect with me at magnagopal.com, magnagopal.com, or on social media at Magna Gopal. I've also got my own audio podcast, Empowered with Magna, if you want to check that out, and lots of free content as well as courses on my website.
Well, I appreciate each of you for stepping into your leadership, for continuing to share your experiences with with all the Outliers here, and for trusting me, for taking the risk and coming out here and being in here. I enjoy getting to know you, and I'm looking forward to the journeys that we get to share together, as well as what you bring out to the people that you lead. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Niiamah.
Thank you so much,
Niiamah.
all of you.